Hello, I'm Sheryl, and welcome to Sleep Tight Relax, a cozy bedtime podcast made especially for kids, but perfect for dreamers of all ages. In tonight's story, we will use our imagination and go on a bedtime adventure to the moon. We will meet Mr. Harrold, a clever man who lives alone in a hidden crater. Every night, he blasts off in his pink rocket to explore the stars. But tonight, something wonderful happens. He makes a new friend who changes the moon forever. So why don't you get cozy in bed, close your eyes, and take a few great big belly breaths as we start tonight's story. Harrold and the Alien. It was time for bed, but Sally wasn't quite ready for sleep. She had too many questions and way too few answers. Her newest science book, all about the moon, lay open on her desk when her dad peeked into her room to see if she was asleep. "Aren't you supposed to be in bed?" he asked softly, raising an eyebrow. "It's late, and we all need a good night's sleep to be the best version of ourselves tomorrow." "I know, Daddy," Sally replied. "Mummy was in earlier and said the same thing. And when I told her my brain was too busy thinking about outer space and dinosaurs and aliens zooming through the stars, she had me sit and practice deep breathing. That sounds like a great idea, except it worked a little too well." Sally huffed, flipping a page in her book. "It made me sleepy, but it didn't give me the answers I need. So I had to get out of bed to find them." "Ah, I see," her daddy chuckled, stepping into her room. He walked to her bed, smoothed out the covers, and pulled them back to make it easier for Sally to slip right back in. Deep breaths can help settle our minds, but I know what you mean. Sometimes our curiosity just keeps bubbling up. He paused, then asked quietly, "So, what questions are keeping you up tonight?" "My last count was 1,000,000, Sally said, stretching her arms wide, "but I'd settle for just one." Daddy nodded solemnly, as if this were a reasonable request. "This book doesn't say," Sally added, tapping the page with her finger. "But I really need to know. Are there aliens living on the moon?" "Well," her daddy said, patting the bed, "why don't you come back to your bed, hop under the covers, and I'll tell you my answer." Sally wiggled under the blankets and pulled them snugly up to her chin. Right beside her was Bear, which, as she often admitted, wasn't the most original name, but it suited him just fine. "So," her daddy began, tucking the blankets in a little tighter, "the simple answer is, as far as we know, there's no life on the moon. No aliens." Sally frowned. "But," her daddy said, lowering his voice to a whisper, "I do know about a man who lives there. A very clever man who knows how to stay hidden. He was a bit lonely until he made a new friend." Sally's eyes lit up. "This sounds suspiciously like a story, Daddy." Her daddy smiled. "It is a story, but I think you'll like it." "Fine," Sally said, letting out a big yawn. "I'll allow it." "Now," her daddy said, settling in, "this is the story of Mr. Harrold, the man who lives on the moon. No one can see him, because he's an expert at camouflage. But before I start, you have to close your eyes and use your imagination. Deal? Deal, Daddy, Sally whispered, closing her eyes. Her daddy's voice softened as Sally nestled deeper under the covers, her eyes gently closed. Now, picture the moon, he whispered, the big, round face that smiles down at us every night. That's where Mr. Harrold lives. Not out in the open, of course. No, Mr. Harrold was far too clever for that. His little home was tucked deep inside a crater, right along the shadowy edge of the near side of the moon. Just far enough from prying eyes, but close enough to watch Earth as it spun and shimmered in the distance. From outside, his home looked like nothing special, just rocks and dust, like all the other craters on the moon. But hidden beneath that, behind a door made of special space steel, was a tiny, cozy house, just the right size for one man on the moon. Inside, soft silver walls kept out the cold, and in the center sat his favorite chair, right beside a round window that framed the most beautiful view. Earth, glowing blue and green like a jewel floating in the dark. Every evening, Mr. Harrold would sit by that window, sipping moon spice cocoa, while the clouds swirl over oceans and mountains, the lights of cities twinkling like little stars. He wondered what it would be like to visit, to walk among people, to hear music and laughter. But he was kind of shy, and Earth seemed so very far away. He loved his little home on the moon. Each night he'd follow his routine, dusting the shelves. Moon dust really did get everywhere. Checking the buttons and dials on his pink rocket and updating his star charts. His maps were special, full of hidden paths and secret places between the stars. And oh, how clever Mr. Harrold was. He'd built mirrors that bent the sunlight just so, making his crater disappear into the shadows. He'd stitched a camouflage cover for his rocket, woven from fibers that shimmered like starlight. No one had ever found him. Not astronauts, not satellites, not even curious astronomers with their powerful telescopes. But even with all his clever inventions, Mr. Harrold sometimes felt lonely. Watching Earth from afar was a comfort, but it wasn't the same as being part of it. So when the stars began to twinkle brighter and space stretched out wide and dark, he zipped up his spacesuit, climbed into his pink rocket, and whispered to the night, "Where shall we go tonight?" In his super-secret pink rocket, Mr. Harrold flipped the last switch on his control panel. The pink rocket hummed softly beneath him, ready to go. "Time for another adventure, little rocket," he whispered with a smile. "Let's see what the universe has in store tonight." Outside, the stars blinked like tiny lanterns hung across the sky. The moon's surface stretched out gray and silent. But inside Mr. Harrold's rocket, everything buzzed with life. Dials glowed softly, buttons blinked in cheerful rows, a little silver compass swung gently, pointing not north, but toward the wonders of the unknown. He fastened his helmet, tapped twice on the dashboard for luck, and pulled the launch lever. 3, 2, 1, whoosh! The rocket lifted off the moon's surface with a gentle shudder, kicking up swirls of moon dust behind it. Up they soared higher and higher, leaving behind craters, mountains, and the quiet of his hidden home. The earth glowed in the distance, a soft, familiar friend. But Mr. Harrold's eyes were set on the stars. The rocket zipped past comets with shimmering tails and asteroids, both big and small. Every so often, Mr. Harrold tipped his hat to a passing planet or waved to a cluster of stars that winked back. He was zooming super fast. "Tonight feels special," Mr. Harrold mused, adjusting a dial to follow a glimmering trail of stardust. "I think we'll find somewhere we've never been before, because the universe is wide and full of surprises." And soon, there it was, a small planet tucked behind a curtain of swirling clouds. His rocket glided through the mist and down toward the surface, where strange, bendy trees grew as far as the eye could see. These trees didn't stand straight like the ones on Earth. No, they curved and twisted like ribbons caught in the wind. Their leaves shimmered in shades of purple and blue. Some even hummed softly as the breeze brushed through them. "This might be the best planet yet," Mr. Harrold whispered in awe, flipping switches to land. The rocket settled gently between two great trees, its pink exterior gleaming under the violet sky. As he stepped out onto the soft, spongy ground, he heard a curious sound. A series of chirps and clicks, like laughter made of music. And then he saw them. Little purple aliens swung from the bendy branches, their long fingers curling around the vines. They had wide, sparkling eyes and tiny feet that seemed to bounce on the soft ground. Mr. Harrold gave a cheerful wave. "Hello there." The aliens chirped back and swung closer, curious about the visitor in the pink rocket. Mr. Harrold took off his helmet and smiled wide. This is going to be a wonderful adventure. The purple aliens chirped and clicked among themselves, eyeing Mr. Harrold with their wide, sparkling eyes. They swayed gently from the branches of the bendy trees, their long tails curling like ribbons in the breeze. Mr. Harrold gave another friendly wave and took a cautious step forward, his moon boots sinking softly into the spongy ground. "I come in peace," he said with a chuckle, holding up his hands in the shape of a V between his fingers, just like the explorers in his favorite space stories. The aliens tilted their heads, and then one brave little creature swung down from the trees and landed with a soft plop right in front of him. It was no taller than his knee, with shimmering purple skin and bright yellow eyes that blinked slowly, as if deciding whether to trust this curious visitor. Mr. Harrold crouched down and smiled. "Well, aren't you a curious one?" The alien chirped, a musical trill, and reached out to gently tug at the shiny buttons on Mr. Harrold's spacesuit. Behind it, more of the aliens began to gather, their tails looping over branches, their feet barely touching the ground as they bounced closer. Soon, Mr. Harrold was surrounded. With a laugh, he reached into one of his suit's many pockets and pulled out a small silver bell. He gave it a gentle shake. Ding, ding! And the aliens' eyes sparkled even brighter. They trilled and chirped, imitating the sound perfectly, as if singing back to him. "Clever little ones, aren't you?" Mr. Harrold chuckled. One of the taller aliens offered him a twisting vine from the nearest tree. It looped and curled like a rope made of silk. Understanding the invitation, Mr. Harrold grabbed hold and let the aliens hoist him into the trees. And oh, what trees they were! The branches bent and swayed beneath his weight, not breaking, but moving with him. The leaves shimmered under the soft violet sky, glowing faintly where the light touched them. With the aliens as his guides, Mr. Harrold swung from branch to branch, sometimes dangling upside down like they did. He laughed so hard his belly hurt. They played games of catch, tossing soft fruit that smelled like honey. They even showed him how to glide between trees by holding onto wide leaves that acted like little parachutes. For the first time in a long time, Mr. Harrold felt not so lonely. No hiding, no camouflage, just play. When they all grew tired, the aliens gathered around his rocket, their curious fingers tracing the pink exterior. One bold alien tapped a button on the side, making the lights blink and boop boop cheerfully. Mr. Harrold grinned and gave them a gentle warning. "Careful there, she's ready to blast off if you press the wrong one." The aliens chirped and clicked excitedly, clearly enchanted by the strange machine. They peered into the windows, ran their hands along the smooth metal, and bounced softly on their toes. As Mr. Harrold turned to gather some souvenirs, perhaps a leaf or a sketch in his notebook, he didn't notice the bravest alien of all. This tiny explorer crept up the rocket's ramp, sneaking inside. With a swift hop, it tucked itself beneath the pilot's seat, hidden from view. The other aliens gathered a small pile of snacks for Mr. Harrold, fizzy purple berries that popped like bubbles when you bit into them, and soft golden leaves that smelled like sunshine. With his arms full of gifts and his heart fuller still, Mr. Harrold waved goodbye. "Thank you, my friends," he called, tipping his helmet. "This is a night I won't forget." The aliens chirped and clicked their farewell, waving from the bendy branches as the pink rocket lifted off into the violet sky. But as Mr. Harrold set his course for home, he was not alone. The pink rocket zipped smoothly through space, leaving the bendy forest planet behind. Mr. Harrold sat back in his pilot's chair, humming softly to himself as he nibbled on one of the fizzy purple berries the aliens had given him. It popped and fizzed on his tongue, making him chuckle. "What a night," he sighed, setting a course back toward the moon. "I should visit new planets more often." Outside the window, stars winked as if agreeing with him. The quiet hum of the rocket was soothing, and Mr. Harrold let himself relax, the familiar glow of Earth growing larger in the distance. But just as he reached for another berry, he heard it. A soft click, then a chirp. Mr. Harrold sat up straight, blinking. The rocket should have been silent except for the gentle hum of the engine. He listened closely. Click, chirp, click, click. He turned slowly, peeking beneath the dashboard. Nothing. Then he heard a faint rustling behind him. Swiveling in his seat, Mr. Harrold leaned over and looked under the pilot's chair. And there it was. The bravest alien from the forest planet, its bright yellow eyes wide and curious, its purple tail curled tightly around itself. It chirped softly as if to say, "Surprise!" Mr. Harrold's eyes widened. "Well, what have we here?" The little alien uncurled itself and gave a shy wave, its tiny fingers wriggling in greeting. Mr. Harrold laughed, his voice echoing through the rocket cabin. "You sneaky little stowaway, you hid right under my nose." The alien clicked softly, looking only slightly guilty. "Well," Mr. Harrold said, reaching down and offering his hand, "I suppose you're along for the ride now." The alien hopped up onto his lap without hesitation, chirping happily. Mr. Harrold could feel the soft hum of its purring through his spacesuit. "Well, I can't very well take you back now," he chuckled. "We're halfway home to the moon." The alien tilted its head, blinking at the vast expanse of space outside the window. It pointed a tiny finger at Earth, chirping a curious tune. "That's Earth," Mr. Harrold explained softly. "Lots of people down there, big forests, oceans, and cities full of light. Lots of noise." The alien clicked again, sounding thoughtful. "But we are headed back to the moon," Mr. Harrold added. "It's a little quieter up there. I hope you like quiet." The alien trilled brightly and gently tapped Mr. Harrold's nose, as if to say, "Quiet can be nice." As they sailed through the stars, Mr. Harrold shared some of the moon cheese sandwiches he'd packed. The alien seemed to prefer the fizzy berries. He told the little creature stories about his past adventures, planets with glowing rivers, moons with singing stones, and once, a comet that laughed every time you waved at it. For the first time in a long time, Mr. Harrold didn't feel the usual loneliness tugging at him as he returned to the moon. Instead, he felt a warmth growing in his chest, knowing he wouldn't be landing alone. The rocket hummed happily as it drew closer to home, and when they touched down, the alien's eyes widened at the gray, dusty landscape outside. "Well," Mr. Harrold said, standing up and stretching, "it's not much yet, but maybe we can make it feel a little more like home." The rocket's hatch opened with a soft hiss, and Mr. Harrold stepped out onto the familiar gray surface of the moon. The little alien followed close behind, its wide eyes scanning the quiet landscape, ears flicking at the stillness. "Not quite as exciting as your bendy forest," Mr. Harrold admitted, brushing some moon dust from his boots. "But don't let the gray fool you. There's room for something wonderful here." The alien chirped softly and reached into its small pouch, pulling out a shimmering purple seed no bigger than a pebble. It held it up, eyes bright. Mr. Harrold's eyebrows lifted. "Oh? You brought a bit of home with you, did you?" The alien nodded eagerly. Together, they found a quiet corner near Mr. Harrold's crater home, a place shielded by ridges of rock where shadows stretched long and deep. The alien dug a small hole with its nimble fingers, gently pressing the seed into the soft moon dust. Mr. Harrold fetched a jar of comet water, a rare prize from one of his past adventures, and together they watered the seed. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, beneath the soft silver glow of Earth above, the ground trembled ever so slightly. A slender shoot unfurled, twisting and bending as it grew, just like the trees from the alien's world. Its leaves shimmered with faint purples and blues, glowing softly against the moon's gray. The alien clapped its hands and trilled in delight, while Mr. Harrold stood back, smiling wider than he had in a long time. One tree became two, then three. Slowly, over the nights and weeks that followed, Mr. Harrold and the alien tended their little hidden grove. They planted more seeds, shaped cozy nooks among the bendy trees, and even strung starlit lanterns between the branches, which glowed only when no one was watching. But no one on Earth ever saw this secret forest. You see, Mr. Harrold was still clever. He used his mirrors and camouflage, bending light and shadow just so. From Earth, the crater looked as empty and gray as ever. The bendy forest remained hidden beneath layers of moonlight and illusion, a secret place shared by two unlikely friends. And every so often, when you look up at the moon and think it seems to twinkle just a little differently, perhaps you've caught a glimpse of their hidden world. Because most people think the moon is empty. But now you know the truth. There's a man who lives there, very clever at hiding himself. And right alongside him is his new friend, just as clever at hiding, too. If you're still awake, it's the perfect time to whisper something kind to yourself. Take a deep breath, and in your mind or in a soft voice, say these gentle words. I am brave enough to explore new worlds with my imagination. I can create wonderful things when I work together with others. I am open to learning from others, just like the alien and Mr. Harrold shared their worlds. I can be myself and still find where I belong. Like the hidden forest on the moon, there is something special and unique inside me. I am calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Good night. Sleep tight.